Italy, a name that evokes ancient empires, breathtaking art, and passionate culture. But for centuries, Italy was not a nation. It was a patchwork of rival city-states and foreign rulers. How did this fragmented peninsula become the country we know today? How did a small settlement on the Tiber River grow to rule the Western world? And after centuries of division, how did it rise again to become a cornerstone of modern Europe? This is the epic story of Italy. The story of Italy as a center of power begins in the heart of the peninsula. According to legend, Rome was founded in 753 BC by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus. Raised by a she-wolf, the brothers grew to become leaders. But a dispute over where to build their city led Romulus to kill Remus. Rome was born from this act of violence. Rome started as a small village along the Tiber River. It was a settlement of shepherds and farmers. At first, it was a kingdom ruled by a series of kings. But the last king, Tarquin the Proud, was a tyrant. His cruelty sparked a rebellion. In 509 BC, the monarchy was overthrown. The Roman Republic was born, a state governed by the Senate and the people. This was a revolutionary idea. Power was shared among elected officials. Citizens had a voice in government. This system made Rome strong. Rome's legions marched across Italy. They were disciplined and well-trained. They conquered the Etruscans in the north. They defeated the Celts in the Po Valley. They subdued the Greek colonies in the south. One by one, the Italian tribes fell to Roman might. They unified the entire Italian peninsula under Roman rule. But Rome did not just conquer, it also integrated. Conquered peoples were granted citizenship. They became Romans themselves. This policy of inclusion built loyalty. It created a unified Italian identity under Roman leadership. But the Republic's ambition did not stop there. Rome conquered Europe, North Africa, and the Near East. The Punic Wars against Carthage made Rome a Mediterranean power. The legions marched through Gaul, Spain, and Greece. They defeated the Macedonians and the Seleucid Empire. Rome built an empire that dominated the Mediterranean for centuries. Wealth poured into the city. Trade flourished across the known world. Roman roads connected distant provinces. Roman law brought order to conquered lands. Latin became the common language of the Mediterranean. But success brought problems. Wealth inequality grew. The rich became richer. The poor became poorer. Slave labor replaced free farmers. Political corruption became rampant. Generals grew powerful and ambitious. They fought each other for control of the Republic. The assassination of Julius Caesar set the stage for the rise of emperors. Caesar had conquered Gaul and become a hero to the people. But the Senate feared his power. They stabbed him to death on the Ides of March. His death sparked a civil war. Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, emerged victorious. He became Augustus, the first Roman emperor. The Republic was replaced by one-man rule. The Roman Empire was born. Rome gave the world immeasurable contributions. Law, philosophy, engineering, and art flourished. Roman aqueducts brought water to cities. Roman roads connected the empire. Roman concrete built structures that still stand today. The Colosseum hosted gladiatorial games. The Pantheon remains a marvel of engineering. Latin influenced languages across Europe. Roman law became the foundation of Western legal systems. Philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius shaped Western thought. Poets like Virgil and Ovid created lasting literature. The Roman Empire was the pinnacle of ancient civilization, but the empire grew too large to control. Borders stretched from Britain to Mesopotamia. Defending this vast territory was expensive. Barbarian tribes pressed on the frontiers. Economic decline set in. Inflation devalued the currency. Corruption weakened the government. The army became more loyal to their generals than to Rome. Emperors rose and fell in quick succession. The empire was divided into east and west. The Western Roman Empire grew weak. In 476 AD, the last Roman emperor was deposed. The Roman Empire fell. Italy was fragmented once again. The Lombards established a kingdom in northern Italy. They were fierce Germanic warriors. They conquered much of the peninsula. Central Italy fell under the control of the Papal States. The Pope became a political as well as spiritual leader. The Catholic Church grew powerful in Rome. Southern Italy passed between a succession of rulers. Byzantines, Arabs, Normans, and Spanish all controlled parts of the south. Each invader left its mark on Italian culture. Italy was no longer a unified state. It was a land of many powerful city-states. Venice and Genoa grew wealthy through shipping and trade. Their merchant fleets dominated the Mediterranean. Florence became a center of banking and commerce. Milan grew powerful through manufacturing. These city-states competed fiercely with each other. They fought wars and formed alliances. They sponsored art and culture. Italy was divided, but it was also dynamic. From the ashes of the Middle Ages, Italy birthed the Renaissance. This cultural rebirth began in the city-states of the peninsula. Wealthy merchants became patrons of the arts. They commissioned paintings, sculptures, and buildings. Great patrons like the Medici family of Florence supported artists. The Medici were bankers. They used their wealth to transform Florence into a cultural capital. Geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo changed art forever. Leonardo painted the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. He also studied anatomy, engineering, and flight. Michelangelo sculpted David and painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling. His work captured the beauty and complexity of the human form. But the Renaissance was not just about art. Writers like Dante, Petrarch, and Boccaccio shaped Italian literature. Dante's Divine Comedy remains a masterpiece of world literature. Scholars rediscovered ancient Greek and Roman texts. They studied philosophy, science, and history. Humanism became the dominant intellectual movement. Humanists believed in the potential of human achievement. They emphasized education, reason, and individual potential. Italian explorers like Marco Polo and Christopher Columbus set sail. They ushered in the age of discovery. Marco Polo traveled to China and brought back stories of the East. Christopher Columbus sailed west and discovered the Americas. Amerigo Vespucci gave his name to the new continents. John Cabot explored North America for England. These explorers expanded the known world. They brought wealth and knowledge back to Europe. Italian navigators and cartographers led the way. Despite this explosion of culture, Italy remained politically divided. The city-states continued to fight each other. Foreign powers took advantage of this division. France, Spain, and the Holy Roman Empire invaded Italy. They fought wars on Italian soil. The Italian Wars devastated the peninsula. Italy became a battleground for European powers. The Renaissance flourished, but political unity remained a distant dream. By the mid-19th century, a movement for a united Italy took hold. It was called the Risorgimento. Italian nationalists dreamed of a unified country. They wanted to end foreign domination. They wanted to create a modern nation-state. The Kingdom of Sardinia drove unification. It was led by the House of Savoy. Key figures like Count Camillo di Cavour led political efforts. Cavour was a skilled diplomat. He allied with France to drive Austria out of Italy. The national hero, Giuseppe Garibaldi, led military campaigns. Garibaldi was a charismatic leader. He gathered volunteers and led them to victory. His red shirts conquered Sicily and Naples. He marched north to meet the Sardinian army. In 1861, most of the Italian peninsula was united. King Victor Emmanuel II was crowned. But Venice and Rome remained outside the kingdom. Venice was still under Austrian control. Rome was still ruled by the Pope. In 1866, Italy allied with Prussia and won Venice. In 1870, Rome was finally incorporated into the Kingdom of Italy. The Pope lost his temporal power. Unification was complete. Italy was finally a nation. But a great division remained. The North industrialized rapidly. Factories and railways transformed the North. The South remained rural and impoverished. The Mezzogiorno was poor and underdeveloped. Latifundia, large estates worked by peasants, dominated the South. The government in Rome was far away. Corruption and mismanagement plagued the South. This economic gap led to a massive Italian diaspora. Millions of Italians left their homeland. They searched for a better life in the Americas. Italian immigrants poured into the United States, Argentina, and Brazil. They worked hard and built new lives. They faced discrimination and hardship, but they also preserved their culture and traditions. Italy was unified, but its people were deeply divided. The North looked down on the South. The South resented the North. This divide continues to shape Italian politics today. Italy entered World War I on the side of the Allies. The Triple Alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary was set aside. Italy wanted to complete its unification. It wanted the territories of Trento and Trieste. These lands were still under Austrian control. The war was brutal. Italian soldiers fought in the Alps. They faced freezing temperatures and avalanches. They suffered heavy casualties. The Battle of Caporetto was a devastating defeat. But Italy persevered. Victory brought new territories, but many felt cheated. The peace treaties did not give Italy all it wanted. This feeling of a mutilated victory sowed seeds of discontent. Nationalists felt betrayed. Veterans returned home to unemployment. The economy was in ruins. Social unrest spread across the country. Workers occupied factories. Peasants seized land. The government was weak and divided. In 1922, Benito Mussolini marched on Rome. He was a former socialist and journalist. He founded the Fascist Party. He promised order and national greatness. He used violence and intimidation against his opponents. The king appointed him prime minister. Mussolini seized power, establishing the first fascist dictatorship. He abolished democracy and suppressed dissent. He controlled the press and propaganda. He created a cult of personality around himself. He promised to rebuild the Roman Empire. He invaded Ethiopia and Albania. He allied Italy with Nazi Germany in World War II. The alliance was disastrous. Italian forces were poorly equipped and led. They suffered defeats in North Africa and Greece. The war turned against Italy. In 1943, Italy surrendered to the Allies. Mussolini was arrested, but the Germans rescued him. They set up a puppet state in northern Italy. The country was thrown into a brutal civil war. Partisans fought against the fascists and Germans. The fighting was bloody and vicious. Mussolini was captured by partisans and executed. His body was hung in Milan. The fascist regime finally collapsed. In 1946, Italy held a referendum. The country abolished its monarchy and became a republic. The House of Savoy was sent into exile. Women voted for the first time. A new constitution was adopted in 1948. It guaranteed fundamental rights and freedoms. It created a parliamentary democracy. Italy rebuilt itself from the ruins of war. The Marshall Plan provided American aid. Factories were rebuilt and modernized. Agriculture was reformed. It became a founding member of NATO. It aligned itself with the West against the Soviet Union. In 1957, Italy signed the Treaty of Rome. This was the birth of what would become the European Union. Italy was a founding member of the European project. it embraced European integration. The post-war years witnessed an economic miracle. Italy transformed into an industrial powerhouse. The north boomed. Cities like Milan and Turin grew rapidly. Italian cars, appliances, and textiles conquered world markets. Brands like Ferrari, Gucci, and Prada became world-renowned. Italian design and fashion became symbols of style and sophistication. Tourism boomed as visitors flocked to see Italy's treasures. The Italian film industry produced masterpieces. Directors like Federico Fellini and Michelangelo Antonioni won international acclaim. Italy experienced a cultural renaissance, but challenges remained. Political instability was a constant problem. Governments rose and fell in quick succession. The economy faced periods of stagnation and inflation. The South remained poor and underdeveloped. The mafia thrived in Sicily. Corruption plagued public life. Terrorism from both left and right threatened the country. The years of lead were marked by violence. But Italy endured. The Italian people remained resilient. They adapted and overcame. They maintained their strong traditions of family and community. They preserved their cultural heritage. They continued to inspire the world with their creativity. The history of Italy is the history of Europe itself. It is a story of peaks and falls, of genius and conflict. From the ruins of its ancient empire to the design of today, Italy has survived, adapted, and continued to inspire. It is a land of ancient ruins and modern fashion, of medieval hill towns and industrial cities, of passionate people and delicious food, of great art and beautiful landscapes. Italy has given the world so much. It has shaped our culture, our laws, our art, and our thinking. The story of Italy is far from over. It continues to be written by its people. Today, Italy faces new challenges: economic uncertainty, migration, and political change. But Italy has faced challenges before. It has always found a way to renew itself. The Italian spirit is indomitable. It is a spirit of creativity, resilience, and passion. The story of Italy continues to be written.